I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, it's been a few years since I talked about monthly strata fees on a condo. And this is one of the most misunderstood elements of buying a strata that I see a lot from buyers, even a lot of times from realtors. What I get on a lot of my listings sometimes is either the realtor or the buyer will come in and it'll be a one bed with a $500 or $550 maintenance fee. And they'll say, gee, that maintenance fee is very high. And it turns off some buyers. I think there's a lot of buyers out there that base their selection on condos based on maintenance fees. Actually, I'm pretty sure of it because, as I'll get to in a minute, I know I've had some good units in Richmond that are on metered water. So I'll get to it in a minute. In areas like Richmond, a lot of people don't realize this, but Richmond works on a dual tax system, unlike Vancouver or a lot of other municipalities, in that you get a property tax every year, and then every year you also get a sewer, water, utilities tax in Richmond, which is pretty much equal to what the property tax is. It's gone up substantially over the last 10 years. But a lot of detached homes, when I used to live in Richmond, I was on a metered water system. And a lot of condos now in Richmond, especially newer ones, have gone on to a metered water system. So how that works is, rather than getting an annual bill from the city of Richmond for the utilities tax, that strata is on metered water and they tack it into your maintenance fee. So I'll give you an example. I had just recently a 2-bed, 2-bath, $800,000 list price. That 1,100 square foot condo that was on metered water. Well, the annual tax for that condo is about $1,800 a year. But instead, it's on metered water, so they tack that into the maintenance fee. So that adds about $130, $140 a month direct to that monthly maintenance fee. But I tell you, it's like, it's very difficult to explain. Unless it's an experienced Richmond realtor who understands it, I really have to go out of my way to explain what's happening here. A lot of times these buyers are not from Richmond and aren't familiar with the tax system there. So, instead of getting that $1,800 a month bill once a year from the city of Richmond for your utilities tax, it's already padded into your maintenance fee. But if people will look at it and say, geez, $700 maintenance fee, it seems awfully high. Well, there's a number of things you got to look at. You're about 140 of that is going straight to your utilities tax. You won't get the bill from the city of Richmond for that. But then there's a lot of other things you have to look at when maintenance fees. How much are they putting into the contingency reserve fund? So this has changed just recently. Up until beginning of this year, January 1st, stratas were only required to put 5% of their operating budget into the contingency reserve fund. That's now changed. They have doubled it. Now it's 10%. So you're already seeing that now at the AGMs now that are coming up in 2024. They now automatically have to put double what their CRF contribution was, from 5 to 10%. So that is going to increase maintenance fees across the board now, as you'll see. As the stratas have their AGM this year, they're required now to put more into the CRF. Now, I've got lots of strata, good quality strata, that have always been putting away 10%. I've got some strata that are putting away close to 15%, depending on the age of the strata, what the depreciation report reads. There's a lot of really proactive stratas that want to build up that CRF. I've got a case in point, an older strata in Richmond. It's got 8 strata buildings. It's a huge strata, almost 450 units. They've had a bunch of remedial work over the years. A lot of it was taken out of the CRF. Now they've bumped up their contributions to the CRF to try and replenish it. Now, I've talked about, not to get off topic here, I've talked about the contingent reserve fund before too. I think it's a good idea to bump it up to 10% from 5%. Most stratas are underfunded in their CRF. But keep in mind, the contingency reserve fund is not meant to cover all remediation work coming due. It's meant to soften the blow, and that's all I want it to do in the stratas I own. For instance, if you've got a roof job that's going to cost $1.2 million, maybe take $400,000 out of the CRF and then levy the owners for the difference. I think 10% is fine. Depending on some of the stratas I own, maybe I'm okay with putting a little bit more in than that. But I don't want to start putting away 15, 20%. And I do see some stratas that do that, which does elevate their maintenance fees because they're pumping a ton of money into the CRF. As an owner, I generally don't want to go there with that. I would rather hang on to my money. Sure, let's put 10% into the CRF. When we need elevator upgrades for $1 million, take 400 out of the CRF, levy the owners for the other 600, and I will cut you a check for it. Because remember, that money sitting in the CRF is not doing anything for you. If you sell the home, you don't get your contribution back out of the CRF. Up until recently, that money was not earning anything in the CRF. At least now, it's not much longer to go, but at least for the last year or year and a half, those stratas have been able to put those into rolling term deposits, earning 4.5% or 5%. So that's been good. But that gravy train is ending here pretty soon. But I would rather put in 10%, maybe a bit more into the CRF, and then I'll just cut you a check. I'd rather hang on to my money, invest it, and then cut you a check for any levies. But let me give you guys just a breakdown here of on one of my units in downtown Vancouver, a breakdown of where the money goes for your maintenance fees. So this is a home, a condo that I own. It's a 15-year-old boutique building in Crosstown, Beatty Street in Vancouver here. 39 units, so it's a kind of a boutique strata. We've got an annual, this is brand new, this came out from our AGM. We have a $185,000 operating fund to run this 39 unit building. Here's where the money goes. The biggest and far away, the biggest cost for a strata is the insurance premium. Insuring the building, the structure. That is $61,000 out of the operating budget goes just for the insurance. And I've done lots of blogs on insurance, how that's been going up pretty steady here the last 4 or 5 years. Now, the good news is that it's leveled off now. The big spurt was about four or 5 years ago. We had, in a lot of cases, the insurance policy on the strata doubled almost overnight, then went up a little bit the following year or two. It seems to have leveled off now. And the reasons for those, I've done lots of blogs on in the past, were a lot of water claims, fire sprinklers going off. And there were some big insurers that left the business in the Lower Mainland here, and it drove those prices up. Next biggest expense after that, general repairs and maintenance, $20,000. Management fees, $17,000. Waste and recycling, so garbage pickup, $19,000. Water and sewer, $17,000. Janitorial and cleaning, $8,000 a year. After that, everything else is pretty small. Fire systems, $6,000. Administration fees, $2,500. Mechanical maintenance, $3,000. Window cleaning, $5,000. But the biggest cost, $61,000, is gone to the insurance. This is a metric that back 10 years ago, on average, a downtown condo, based on square footage, the maintenance fees ran 45 cents a square foot per month for your maintenance fee. That has gone up substantially now, guys. So on this condo I'm giving you here, this is a 620 square foot, one bed. My maintenance on this now is $498 a month. $498. I can tell you that it was about $310 a month 9 or 10 years ago. So it is gone from 45 cents a square foot. This is now at 80 cents a square foot. A lot of people would look at that and say that's outlandish. That's about average now, guys. Yes, compared to what it was 6, 7, 8 years ago, it seems a bit high, but all stratas are in the same boat here. Again, insurance is more than doubled, which is the biggest expense for a strata. And things like janitorial services, maintenance, general repairs, recycling, everything has gone up with inflation. So I think besides that big insurance premium increase that really spiked 3 or 4 years ago, as an owner of a strata, you should expect these fees to go up anywhere from 6 to 8% every year, unless you run into some major levies and they need to pump a whole bunch more money into the CRF or whatever else. But that's what those maintenance fees are going to go up. Inflation is a huge part of what's been going on here the last 2 or 3 years. Final thing. Oh, and I should tell you too, on this Strata too, it has a gym, no concierge, no pool or anything else like that. So if you start getting into some stuff like in Cole Harbour that has indoor pools, 24-hour concierge, you can easily get now into 90 cents, $1 or more per square foot. It's just the way it is. But you have to do some investigating on maintenance fees. At first blush, it seems high. How much money are they putting into the CRF? How much money is currently into the CRF? What are the amenities in the building? If it's in Richmond, the big one is it on metered water? Because that can add $100, $200 a month, just like that, onto your monthly maintenance fee if it's on metered water, but you won't get that annual tax bill from the city. So you just pay for it monthly instead of annually. Final thing, I've been on this a lot here. The reason you want to get a realtor here too, hire a pro that knows how to read financial statements, where that money is going. Is the maintenance fee really all that high? Let's take a look at it, learn how to read a financial statement and where the money's going. But I keep telling you guys, the market is heated up here quite a bit. I've done a couple of blogs on it here recently. I'm getting into bidding wars now on a lot of the product I'm listing. We're doing holdbacks. And I'm in crazy bidding wars on a lot of stuff I'm going after, like some older Strata in the West End. I continue to get a lot of calls, because I've always got a lot of listings, from people off the street. They just call me because they've seen my listing on Realtor.ca or Realty Link, or they've driven by a home with a sign, with my sign on it, or a condo sign in front of a building. I usually, pretty much all the time, they are a day late and $1 short. I've had the listing for 8 or 9 days. Offer night was 2 days ago. I ended up with 10 offers, subject free. I'm just waiting for the cooling off period now before I can report it. And, you know, they'll call me on these. I've had a couple recently where, you know, they sold at offer night, and I tell them, no, it's sold. It's sold subject free. I had 10 offers. They're always kind of gruff about it. Oh, you sold it really quick. Well, not really. It's been on the market for 10 days. Offer night was 2 nights ago, and now I'm just waiting for the cooling off period and the processing on it. If I have time, which I normally don't, but every now and again I'll be in my car and I have a minute or two, I'll politely say to them, you need a realtor. Do you have a realtor? No. Well, you don't have much of a hope here of buying anything in this market, at least nothing of quality, unless you get a realtor. You're going to be a day late and $1 short. And I've talked about it before. I can't deal with you. Even if this unit or this home was still available, I'm going to tell you to get your own realtor. Have your realtor call me, and I'm happy to show it to you if it's still available, which almost always it's not. It's already been sold. But it's funny, some of them, a lot of them, just all gruff and hang up. Oh, okay, click. You know, like they're mad. You have really no hope of buying any type of quality home unless you have a realtor. Most good homes are getting listed on a Monday or Tuesday. They're showing it for the whole week and early next week, and then they're looking at offers. And, you know, again, if they had a realtor, they wouldn't have called me on this. The realtor would have seen in my agent's remarks that I've got an accepted offer and I'm waiting for processing, or I'm waiting for the cooling off period to end, which is 3 full business days minus any weekend. So that's the other thing. You know, a lot of times I'll sell this firm on a Thursday. Now I've got to wait Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and it won't get reported till Wednesday now. So I've got these people calling me off signs and off Realty Link. Get a realtor, guys. The rules have changed now. 5, 6, 7 years ago, I could have dealt with you as a customer, or what we call an unrepresented party, or double end. Everything has changed now. We're now governed by the financial institution, regulatory board now, and they don't want you buying a home unrepresented, and you really shouldn't. You should have representation, fiduciary duty, but you're going to be behind the 8 ball here buying anything of quality. You might be able to buy a dog, you know, something that's been sitting on the market for 3 or 4 weeks or a month or 2 months or whatever. Maybe you can approach that realtor and maybe they would give you what's called a customer or unrepresented party. But you are greatly disadvantaged doing that, because that realtor has fiduciary to the seller. He doesn't owe you anything. So get a realtor, guys, especially in this market now. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. See you next week.